I'm Gwendolyn Kitson from Nisland, South Dakota, and I'm your American Lamb Board Chairman. You know, it's been a very interesting and challenging year for everyone, but the American Lamb Board, we have changed and we have adapted to these new times, and we are very excited to share with you some of the exciting programs we now have. The American Lamb Board is represented by the producers, the feeders, and the processors, and this is done through a mandatory assessment. The American Lamb Board, we represent the total industry, and we have 13 members on our board from across the United States. The interesting thing about the American Lamb Board, which is different than any other checkoff in the United States, is we receive no funding by importers. Your checkoff promotes only American lamb, and this is something that we're very, very proud of. However, because we receive no outside funding, the American Lamb Board and the Lamb Checkoff is one of the smallest ones in the United States. In 2018, our assessments was $2.5 million. Now, to give you perspective of where that's at, that puts us right between the watermelons and the Christmas trees. The nice thing about that, everybody loves watermelon and Christmas trees and American lamb. We are going to have some very big goals on a very small budget. I think you're going to be amazed at what we have achieved. With the American Checkoff, about 2/3 of the annual budget is always devoted to promotion. This is one of our top priorities that we do with your American Lamb dollars. Where does the rest of the money? Like I said, 2/3 is going to go to marketing and promotion, and the balance is going to go research and education and industry collaboration. We are such a small industry that is always very, very important that we work together with every aspect of our industry to promote and move the American lamb industry forward. 2020 has been an incredibly interesting year for American agriculture and of course for the lamb industry. Before COVID hit, we were looking at 60% of the U.S. lamb consumed was imported product, either from Australia or from New Zealand. 50% of the consumers here in the United States had never tried lamb. And the majority of the lamb eaters only consumed at restaurants and maybe once or twice a year at home and only for special occasions. 50% of the American lamb was only sold through retail, with the highest retail sales being in the Northeast, the Southeast, and the California regions of the United States, making up 70% of the sales. The top selling retail cuts are loin, leg, and shoulder. 40% of the American lamb was sold through food services, and that was primarily the middle cuts of the meats and was going to the fine dining industry. But when COVID came, we were cooking more at home. And along with that, people were focusing on new flavors and new foods and being together. This increased the retail lamb sales, and many people were trying lamb for the very first time. However, the loss of the food service industry greatly impacted the rack market. At the same time, the American consumers came forward and they were supporting the local farmers and ranchers. Some of the other things that impacted the lamb industry during the early days of COVID was mountain states rose. But then we do have new plants coming on board. At the same time, we have non-traditional markets that are growing. The ethnic and the minority population is hungry for lamb and they want to buy American lamb. Direct-to-consumer sales at farmers markets and online sales programs are working. But the impact on the food service industry has been devastating. The fine dining, hotels, and cruise ships have been hit the hardest. Unfortunately, a large number of the restaurants are not going to survive, and especially the fine dining, where our rack market was. Lamb is a very hard sell for the take-out-only meal options. Restaurants are getting creative, they're still trying, but it has been a true challenge. This has caused the lamb food service sales to decrease 35 to 45%. The other thing, what's going to happen to outdoor seating during the winter? How has COVID impacted the retail sales for American lamb? Well, the retail sales has actually increased versus the same period a year ago, up 30.5% in dollars, an increase of 20.8% in volume, an additional 4.6 million pounds. What we're finding is a very high number of very first-time lamb purchasers. So because of that, the American Lamb Board, watching these numbers, are making fast and innovative shifts in our marketing. This also includes the retail support, switching over to help the food influencers partnership, the social media campaigns, and virtual event. With everyone being at home, going to social media has been the key with American Lamb Board marketing strategy. It is important that we continue telling our story and promoting the importance of sourcing American and American lamb. I'm so excited to tell you about one of our partnerships that we have with Tzatziki Mediterranean Cafe. Now, this is one of our first major promotions in the United States, working with a casual takeout. Now, Tzatziki's Mediterranean Cafe, imagine 90 plus restaurants in 17 states focusing and only using American lamb. This was an 8-week campaign that was ran from August 10th to November 1st. The American Lamb Board helped supply the signage, bag stuffers, window clings, e-blasts, and social media. And it was a very successful campaign. The American Lamb Board is very excited about the upcoming restaurant promotion for 2021. Now, let's switch to retail. HEB pilot programs. HEB has 350 locations throughout Texas. They are known to be the retail innovator and very consumer driven. They helped us promote and show the benefits of American lamb through their successful health and wellness promotion, engaging and educating 70 plus HEB registered dietitians. These dietitians actively work with physicians and communities and individuals. American lamb specials were run from June to August of 2020. We're going to be having more American Lamb Board retail promotions coming in this upcoming fiscal year of 2021. We have been partnering with many food influencers. Now, for me, I had to have people explain to me, what is a food influencer? A food influencer is an individual who is so passionate about food. They know how to cook it, they know how to prepare it, and they love sharing it. Part of our partnership is with 21 of these food bloggers, creating over 78 new recipes in 2020 and reaching 2.3 million consumers. Now, some of our very fun social media campaigns has been the Lamb Challenges. Now, the challenges is to get Americans consumers cooking with American lamb, trying 2 lamb recipes, sharing that photo on Instagram, and supporting the American farmer and rancher. The Lamb Challenge was heavily promoted by our blogger partnerships along with our own social media post. And for the first time, we included live segments featuring sheep producers doing virtual tours of their wonderful operations. Another real fun social media campaign was the Glamburger. The fun part about this contest was consumers could share photos of the lamb burgers they created at home or the ones that they found at their favorite restaurants, along with promoting lamb burgers on menus across the United States. This resulted in new burger recipes and videos being created by bloggers. Now, the strategy was to make lamb more approachable to new consumers. In order to bring the events to everyone, we decided to go virtual. Oh, what a fun event. Lamb Jam at Home. It was a great way to virtually celebrate the American lamb and enjoy lamb from the comforts and the safety of our home. So what consumers were able to do, they were actually able to go virtually to farms and ranches across the United States and see how the lamb is raised, and also into these wonderful chefs' kitchens. They were also able to get a lamb dish to go from a local restaurant, plus a coupon to purchase lamb to cook at home. The Glamburger Challenge, what a fun virtual event, which was held in Washington, D.C., the San Francisco, and the Denver area. What was so fun about this is that the influencers, they got a cooking kit that included American lamb to experiment with. Now the chefs create the final burger for a wonderful menu. Now we have 3 new American lamb burgers on the menus. Everybody wants to know, where does our food come from? The American Lamb Story Influence Events helps answer that question. We held events in Seattle, Austin, and Boston. Just think of the fun of having picnics on a family farm, having virtual dinners with local chefs and shepherds. They received a custom multi-course lamb dinner for 2. Telling the American story through new videos and narratives just opens up the world of how American lamb is raised. It's something that the consumer can feel good about.
Well, I'm a sheep rancher, not to get wealthy, that's for sure. It's tough work, but it's so gosh darn rewarding that you couldn't give it up if you wanted to.
The Army is the #1 domestic consumer of wool and probably will be for many years. We wanted to have a farm. We didn't know exactly where, we didn't know exactly what, and my Army career is what actually led to us choosing sheep.
When Beast and Bottle opened and we were going with this idea of a lamb house, I mean, they're serving Colorado lamb in the bistros in Paris, so why is there no restaurant here in Colorado that's focused completely on that?
The animals are what they eat, and the menu that the sheep have out here is incredible. I mean, there's wild carrots and wild onions and broadleaf plants of all kinds. That's one of the more rewarding aspects of ranching, to watch the quality of the plants that are out there improve year after year. It makes you feel real good to try to do the right thing with the landscape and the whole thing as it fits together.
So every Tuesday we have a whole lamb arrive at the restaurant, and even to this day, 7 years in, there's an excitement when the truck pulls up and drops off the lamb. And every single part finds its way onto our menu, whether it be in cured lamb pancetta, smoked lamb bacon, braised lamb shoulders, lamb sausages, things of that nature, things that people can relate to and things that people can crave.
American lamb is good for Americans for many, many reasons. The benefit of the lamb itself, not only is it generally leaner, but it also has better mineral content. Lamb is better. Then, accounting for taste, you've gone from better to wonderful. Lamb is something that America doesn't realize it can eat every day.
I'm in the unique position that I have been able to forge a relationship with the people that grow our food. And the respect that I have for how these individuals are stewards of the land, and the fact that they have devoted their love to this animal is overwhelming, and I try to capture that passion that they have for ranching in what we do in the kitchen. We're honoring the integrity of that animal, how this animal was raised in local lands, and I think by using all those parts and presenting it to our guests, we're continuing that story of integrity from rancher to guest.
Now, what is the American Lamb Board's role beyond promotion? Well, that is the research and education, and of course, the industry collaboration. One of the new research programs that we're working on right now is the environmental research with the Michigan State University. Sheep producers, we've been on the land since the beginning of time. We know the positive impact that sheep make on the environment. However, we want to have hard data to show the American public, and we're going to evaluate the environmental footprint of the U.S. sheep industry. We want to quantify the positive environmental impacts and collect more accurate emission data to help balance some of the negative conversation. This new funding is going to be available starting October 1st, 2020. We do realize that, local promotion happens year-round, so we want to make it possible for you to apply for these funds throughout the year. There's 3 categories. Number 1, like to sponsor event. You can get donations for like lamb or promotional material, or brand marketing like websites, point-of-sale material, in-store supplies. Now, where to find this at is at www.lambresourcecenter.com. Last year was our first American Lamb Summit, and it was such a great success. Now, the purpose of the Lamb Summit is to address critical strategies to improve our industry's product competitiveness and also profitability. This is a great example where the Lamb Board and Premier Sheep Supply have partnered to bring you the American Lamb Summit. Unfortunately, we're not going to have it in 2020, but we are going forward with August of 2021 in East Lansing, Michigan at Michigan State University. We covered so much information, and I appreciate you joining us today. We covered a lot of information today. Where do you find it all? Simple. Go to the lambresourcecenter.com. This is our newly launched website. Here you're going to find marketing resources, American Lamb Board reports, remittance forms, promotional tools. There's so much information. This is designed for the American producers to cover all areas of our marketing. There's so many exciting things happening in the American sheep industry. We want you to be the first to know. So go to lambresourcecenter.com. Sign up. I want to thank you for joining us today to learn more about the American Lamb Board, what we're doing with your checkoff dollars. One of my goals was always to be a very good steward of the American sheep dollars. Thank you for joining us. Contact the Denver office if you ever have any questions, or contact any board member. Thank you.